So he was on Grand's finale with Leslie, and they went out and had a drink to get together, something to eat, and it was Joan and Chuck and Leslie and Gerry, and then he brought that up to both of them to say, "What should I do?" And Leslie said, "Of course, tell Theresa. She'll be happy for you." And so the next day, he texted me and he said, he heard something. Okay, I won't say what it is. And I said, "Can you talk?" Because I'd really rather say it on the phone. And then he said, "I just want to let you know I met someone." I said, "That's wonderful. I'm so happy for you." I said, and he goes, "I was afraid to tell you." "Why would you be afraid? I only want your happiness." Like, if this was the way it happened for him to find his person, to go on the show, get married, and then find his person this way, then that was meant to be. And so it's great. And yes, that's how he told me. I kind of would like to keep that part of my life private, but I might. I think that's one thing I learned, like, the public scrutiny, and especially to rush into something so quickly. And then all of a sudden, what if it doesn't work out? Like, so yeah, I'm sorry. You know what? I'll say this. That was not the reason. That was not the reason. But I will give kudos to Joan, who started her season by saying, "I'm not moving, and I don't expect that person to move." I think they went into the inaugural season treating us just like the young people who are just starting their lives, and they together can go and find their way and decide where to live. But when you're talking about older people who have homes and they've got community and they've got maybe children and maybe grandchildren, and so that's a difference. So she and Chuck have found a way to make it really work. And maybe that could have worked. It was just, I think they have to be open-minded to that. Either that or have it in the same city or the same state or neighboring states. But that was not the reason. And I want to say this. His illness was not the reason whatsoever. That was never a discussion. I was quite surprised to read that he said that, and then he said he would imagine it was my reason too. It was not at all my reason. I would have stuck with him through thick and thin. My husband of 42 years, Billy, he was sick for the last 5 years of his life, and I stayed with him and took care of him, and I would never do that. That's not the person I am. So we never had that discussion. That never happened. So that wasn't the reason either. But all he said was, it weighed heavily into my decision, I think, and I would imagine into Theresa's too. So he just imagined, and there was no discussion. As a matter of fact, when he presented it, and I knew it for a long time, Leslie knew it too, that the doctor said that it was a disease, a type of cancer, that he would likely die of old age before the cancer would get him. And as a matter of fact, he has no symptoms yet, and he has no treatment yet. And thank God, I'm so happy for him. I want him to live a long, healthy, prosperous, wonderful life. I'm rooting for him. I don't want him to be sick. So that wasn't the reason. And I don't know if I'll ever say what the reason was for me, but I will say that it's really hard to know somebody in that amount of time. And then after the show was over, it was just a whirlwind of excitement, and we were caught up in everything, and there were interviews, and we were going to events. And it was also an abbreviated version of The Bachelor. We only had 1 hour episodes. And so the amount of time that I was with him was what you saw on TV. There was no other casual interaction like there might be on Bachelor in Paradise, where you can hang out.